Good evening, everybody. TGIF, and welcome to day 5, week 4 of ALYFE Connect, our very first virtual-only event brought to you exclusively by ALYFE Group. We are wrapping up the week and getting ready for the weekend by welcoming one of the cheekiest chappies on the social media circuit today. We welcome Mark ODea, actor, TV host, content creator, and dare I say it, professional prankster, along to talk to us about his parody writing process, content creating while in quarantine, and what makes a good viral video. And so joining us all the way from the UK, very specially, Mr. Mark. Good evening, sir. Or good afternoon.
I'm loving that introduction, Jacob. Thank you very much.
Wait, what can I say? I think it's the beer. It must be. It is happy hour after all. So
I mean that as well. But usually what I'll get is social media influencer. But that was nice, mate. Well, I feel you picked me up well. That's just cool, man. Thank you very much. I think it's the beer talking, isn't it?
I missed that. It is really. I'm being too nice to you. I think, for those of you who don't know, Mark and I suppose, are acquaintances of a kind. I think the next time I see you, I'm going to have to push you down the stairs to make up for it because I'm being far too nice already. But you are a social media influencer.
That's not the word acquaintance. Yeah, I wouldn't consider you a friend. Just one of those, people.
Best friend, isn't it, Mark? You just don't want to admit it. Anyway, mate, cheers and thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us all the way from London. So tell us over here how things are back there. How are things in London at the minute in terms of the lockdown and whatnot?
It's all right. I mean, it's kind of good in a way, economy wise, because he has really looked after everyone. He's given most people who've lost their jobs money to rely on, whereas other countries are not doing that. So economy wise, they've got a very good plan, I think. But in terms of health and safety, oh God, not good at all. Like literally, they are being nice.
We've seen a few reports. I think. Well, the thing about the British is, and obviously, as for the viewers at home, you can probably tell I'm from the same place that Mark is from. We're both from the UK, and as anybody who doesn't know this about the British will tell you that, or for anybody who doesn't know this about the British, is that as soon as there is a glimmer, a ray of sunshine, and anything above 10 degrees, we're tops off in the park, life outdoors, beers down, everything. And so right now it's coming into spring, well, coming into summer actually, in fact. And so it's probably the worst time to try and keep people indoors, right?
I'm sure all you Malaysians who are watching this, who have a swimming pool at your condo, you'll notice it's only the expats usually that are out sunbathing because they love standing, they love the sun. And the problem is in Malaysia and countries like India, I've seen, because trust me, I'm on news every 6 hours. I'm looking at all the corona updates. I see all these videos of in India, the police, if they catch someone breaking the lockdown, they'll make them roll.
We've seen these things.
And in Malaysia, they are arresting people on the spot, which I think might be a bit harsh, but it's good because it's making people listen. Whereas in England, the attitude is, oh, whatever. Boris isn't going to care. He's just going to tell me to go home. I'll just go out, have a drink. And that's why they're not listening, I think. Yeah.
Quite true. Although, I mean, I'm sure you'll be aware that we had a brief lifting, or it's still, I suppose, been lifted slightly. We've got the conditional MCO out here now. And on the first day that was announced, a bunch of expats went out and got stuck into a day drinking session. And the media did not like that one bit. And rightly so, because they weren't, I mean, a lot of restaurants and bars are back open, but you've got to abide by social distancing rules and, of course, and all the rest of it. And these guys were just no masks, no distance, no nothing except beer. So I guess it's a struggle everywhere you look, really. But but how has it been for you?
The thing that I would say about the lockdown is I think no one's right and no one's wrong, in my opinion. I mean, everyone on my Facebook and on Instagram, it seems like everyone's a politician and everyone's a health expert when they're not. So it does make me laugh. But I think nobody's officially right or wrong, because if you think about it, people who own gyms, for instance, people who own restaurants, of course, they are going to want the lockdown to be lifted because they are losing business. People who work at home or people who have got relatives who have got coronavirus, obviously they are going to be like, no, we should be inside more. So I think some people are thinking about it from their own point of view, what they want. They're not thinking about what is actually good. and I don't think anyone actually knows.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit tight.
No, I think you're right. They do. I mean, but how is it then for you personally in terms of working from home? Because I know obviously you spend most of your time, for those of you watching who don't know Mark's, I guess it's fair to say Mark's day job is a TV host. You spend a lot of time at the Astro Studios working on the sports shows in particular, as well as Small World, which is not quite a sports show, but it's we can come to Small World in a bit. But you spend most of your time at the studio, but of course, a lot of what you do as well is content creation. And for anybody who's been watching Mark's Instagram, and if you haven't, I suggest you do follow it down below at Mark ODea. For those who, there's going to be plenty more plugs to come, don't you worry. For those of you who have been,
it's a bit small. Can you make it cover the whole screen?
Oh, do you want it? Do you want it in different colors too? Do you want it like all singing and dancing up and down? My goodness me. Such divas, these guests, I tell you. For those of you who have been watching Mark's Instagram videos, like they'll see that Mark has been very, very productive, it's fair to say, during quarantine, with thanks to the help of his dear old mum, his long-suffering woman, I should say. You've managed to come up with a lot of interesting kind of content, and we can talk about those in a second. But so how have you generally found like this time in terms of your creative process?
To be honest with you, mate, sometimes it feels like I'm in Malaysia still, because normally, unless I have my Astro work, all the jobs I'll get from clients or my own content stuff, I will do at home. Sometimes I'll go to a cafe because sometimes you do tend to get lazy at home. I'm sure we all know it is better to be in an office environment at least. The thing with me is I just get all these stupid ideas. Like I get ideas in my head. I was the kid at school that couldn't concentrate because I was always thinking about something else. So I just I always get ideas. So it's not really, it's the same thing for in quarantine. But my ideas will revolve around like quarantine. So obviously I make a lot of parodies. So I challenge myself. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be here like every day for the next 2 months. Let's do one parody a week. And people seem to like it. So I kept it going. So yeah.
I mean, how many have you done so far? There's at least 3 so far I've seen, right? There's like there's a Little Mermaid one, Frozen.
Oh, I've done 8 actually. I've done 8.
2 Little Mermaid. 8?
Yeah.
I've not been paying attention then. There's 2 Little Mermaid ones, one featuring your sister, which is great. She's more talented than you are. One Frozen one, or 2 Frozen ones. There's quite a few. But I'm starting to see a theme here, and that is obviously you're a big fan of the Disney soundtrack. Is that because, I mean, I know you're a big fan anyway, but is that because you are like truly a fan of Disney? And to be fair, who isn't? Or is it because you know that the songs are very popular and familiar and recognizable? You know, why does Disney feature so prominently in your parody work?
Just let me like Disney, Jacob, okay? Can't you tell I'm a big fan? Can't you see my, my Beauty and the Beast poster at the back?
Hey, I will fight you on Disney. I'm the biggest Disney fan. Like, I've got no issue whatsoever. I want to do more Disney. I'm just wondering why. I'm just wondering where it comes from.
Bell tattoo under your ALYFE top.
It's actually Simba. I've got the Simba. Thing that you know when your feet keep on the tree. Yeah, I've got it all. I've got it on my chest. That's dark. You can't see that.
There's a few reasons to why I do Disney. The first one was the first Disney song I did was Little Mermaids Under the Sea. So when I done that was my 3rd parody. So the first one was Dodger Cat, which is a trendy singer now that the kind of Gen X would know. The second one was Eminem, and then the 3rd one was my first.
Yeah. Use yourself.
And when that went viral, I realized that it's the kind of families that are sharing the videos, and a lot of kids, because you know, I wouldn't say our generation, because I still like to consider us young still, but the older generation in lockdown, they're not always on their phones. They are happily reading books and stuff. Whereas the kids, they are the ones who are on their phones. You should see the amount of people on TikTok now because they've got nothing else to do. And I realized they are the people that share it more. And another reason why I do Disney is because whenever I do a video, my number one goal is to entertain people. But if there is some kind of message I can put in the videos as well, I will do it. And so if you look at all my parodies, they might be like kind of comedy, but there are some like PSAs in there that kind of do say things about washing your hands, or, you know, don't use stuff. And I thought the best way to do it is Disney, because I'm not going to lie and do an IG live or do a video where I'm like, hey guys, you know, I think you should stay inside, make sure you wash your hands, because the thing is, my viewers are not stupid. Like, it's a fact. Everyone reads the news, they know what to do. So what my role in this whole coronavirus thing is to just to entertain people by making these parodies. And if I can put a few messages inside them, I think Disney songs are great, because the kids
full list.
You know what I mean?
We've got I can't see whose name it is. They haven't allowed us access, but they've given us the full track list of your Disney parodies so far. In Quarantine, Little Mermaid one, Part of Outside, so 2 Little Mermaid ones. Wash Your Hands, that was the Frozen. No, that wasn't the Frozen one.
You're even a beast.
Quarantine Scale. The High School.
How dare you?
Oh yeah, that was the Be Our Guest one, wasn't it? Yeah. And then We're Quarantined Together. That was with your mom. That was brilliant. And Let It Grow. That was the hair. In the Frozen. Okay, good. So you got to.
They missed that one. I have also got the new Frozen song, which was it wasn't me singing, but I made the lyrics and I made the video, and I got a girl singing on it. It was the one about the lockdown.
Again,
that's me.
We can't see whose name this is. I think they're trying to tell us who it is, but they haven't allowed us access. Whoever's commenting, you need to allow StreamYard access. You'll find the comment instructions at the top of the post on top of the page on Facebook. So click there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned something there, Mark, which I want to come back to at a bit later on, in terms of sharing and getting people to spread the word, as it were, because I know that like you've had a couple of huge like viral successes with your videos, and I think there's a lot of that I want to come back to and explore, because it's actually a very interesting topic. But before we get there, I want to know a little bit more about like your parody like writing process and how long you've been doing them, because you've been putting, I know that you've been putting, say, about a year and a half, about a year, because I was in one of the first proper ones that you did. I was one of the Boba backing dancers.
You're one of the original Boba boys.
One of the OG Boba boys, and that was what, like a year and a half ago, almost now, a bit more. Yeah. So that was like the first one that you said that you put a lot of like personal production value into, but you've been doing parodies for like a while. So like, what did it start with? When did it start? Is it something you've always just enjoyed, kind of taking the mick out of and just being a bit silly with lyrics?
Okay, so to make the story short, I studied performing arts. So I studied performing arts, so I've always had this performer side in me. I was in a boy band, which, you know, I'm sure you're going to talk about later. So I've always had this kind of singing, performing side of me that I've always loved. When I was a kid, I was singing every day. So when I started doing TV hosting, which I still love, and it is still my passion number one, I've always missed doing the singing and doing the kind of like mood and stuff, I suppose. So I would do parodies maybe once every 3 or 4 months. This was like 3 years ago. But I would never invest my full time into them. It was basically just like, this is a good idea, let's just do it. And they weren't really getting anywhere. Like, a few of them did quite well, but there was no big hit, I would say. There was no like Bobber Girl. Like, Bobber Girl was, I consider, a big hit. So I was like, why is that? And then I was watching it, and the lyrics were fantastic. Like, I but not in a big-headed way. I thought the lyrics to my ones I'd done before were really good, but the sound and the videos were rubbish. They were, and I was cringing. I was like, oh my God, how did I even allow this to get posted? So I was like, okay, the next one I do.
Part of the learning process.
Exactly. I was like, let's invest. So instead of getting a friend to help shoot who, is just doing it for fun or experience, I'll pay someone who's like professionally have done this before. I will get, someone to do it, like Daniel V, who you had as a guest before. He does most of the music parodies. Absolutely fantastic. Makes me sound great. So I got this kind of system for that Bobber song, and when it went viral and went onto 9gag and got like the millions of views it got, I realized, okay, this is the kind of standard I need to be setting for all of my parodies. Like once it's got to this level, I can't let it drop. It's got to consistently stay here. So that's when I first realized, okay, like the lyrics was good before, it was just the execution was rubbish. So now let's make the execution great, and then we can have more hits. So that was kind of
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's fair. I mean, you can really tell. I think it's very fair to say. And yeah, Virapin does a fantastic job. I mean, you are a good singer, Mark. I'll have to concede that. But I mean, he makes it sound like there's 6 of you and there's all different harmonies and everything.
Yeah.
Like he does a really good mix. But I think, having worked with you on directly worked with you on one of them, I think like your storyboarding process, your thought process, it's all very well mapped out. And so I think you can definitely see like I mean, even the ones you're doing at minute, like the ones that you're doing at home, like you're still making the absolute most out of a very short space. You can see that you've got the process kind of nailed.
I'm running out of places to chew, Jacob. I've used my kitchen 100 times already, my front door 10 times.
Yeah, that's poor mother.
I need to get an extension.
Your poor mother
wants
a house. Yeah. build a studio in the conservatory, maybe. Yeah. In fact, yeah, for those of you watching who don't know what a conservatory is, it's a very like Middle England British extension to one's house with glass windows and comfortable sofas and whatnot. It's kind of chill, but yeah, you need one of those. And writing the parody itself, like, do you think like what comes first? Is it like the song, and then like, are you like randomly thinking like say for example, does like a line like randomly come to you in tune with a song one day, or do you hear something which sounds like something like Boba Barbie is quite an obvious one, I guess.
It's
but
just
some of your other ones.
It's just all random. Yeah. So the first step would be the topic. So for instance, like Boba. When everyone's talking about Boba, I was like, I should do a song about Boba. What goes well with Boba? And I think it was just Boba, sometimes like you meet. So to the viewers watching, me and Jacob like to karaoke a lot. We love a good karaoke, you know. We've got that Malaysian in us, even though we're English. We love a karaoke.
We have settled. We have acclimatized.
Yeah, sometimes when we karaoke, we will just make up our own lyrics, and that's one of my highlights of the karaoke. We'll get to the stage where me and you are just making up lyrics of songs. I mean, the other people are probably getting really annoyed, but we don't care. We still do it.
Yeah, really.
And Boba Girl, I can't remember why I was doing it, but when I do karaoke, I always do Malaysian girl. Like she's been like something. I'm not going to just make up the lyrics now, but it would be something like that. And then I just thought, wait, Boba Girl. Oh, that kind of works. So then I would just make up the lyrics. If the Haze came to Malaysia. So I was like, okay, let's do a song about the Haze. So in terms of picking the song, there's two things I have to consider. Number one, I've got to like the song, because if not, I'm going to have no passion to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're going to be listening to it over and over again to get the lyrics, to get the beat, to get like the words right.
You know, if I'm listening to my voice and hearing the song, I'm just like, it gets annoying after a while. So it's got to be a classic hit that I like. Number two, it's got to be a song that most people know. It can't be like a niche song. It can't be too old, because the younger generation won't know. So that's why Disney is usually quite good. Or a classic boy band song, Westlife, for instance. So like Uptown Girl, you've got the youngsters that know that, the adults that know that. So that's the kind of things you normally will consider to picking the song. You wouldn't just pick a new song unless it's really popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that seems a pretty fail-safe formula, to be honest. Pretty well thought out. And I think to your point about enjoying it, that's obviously a main thing, because I think what maybe a lot of people don't realize is like a lot of work does go into these things, you know, from like writing out all the lyrics, making sure they all flow, plus the filming it, plus the sound mastering, all of it. Like, it looks fun, and I'm sure it is. I mean, it was when I did Boba. That was great day at the where we were at Sunway, I think, filming, and that was fun. But nevertheless,
well, you've got to admit, I was very stressed, wasn't I? Like, I was, because I'm a one-man team. I was like, okay, you guys need to do this. Like, there's no laughing or joking.
We didn't have much. So no, it was fine. We didn't have much time, to be fair. I think we were kind of trying to get a lot of scenes done in a very short space of time. But I think it turned out okay. It made it to 9 gag.
Yeah.
But on that, talking of enjoying it, we've got a good question here from Tabitha Long, who's finally allowed us to show her name. So yeah, Tabitha's wondering, what is the most fun parody you've ever done? What's the one you've enjoyed doing the most?
Okay, I think maybe. Oh, this is tough because I've had so much fun on a lot of them. But I think the one I did with
If
my
you don't
mum,
say Boba Girl, I will cry.
Boba Girl was fun, but it was
Mm.
stressful as hell, man. Because it was so stressful because it was my first one where I had hired people and paid for like filming and audio. So I was like, oh my god, I don't want to waste my money. So like Boba Girl was fun. And I did have a lot of fun working with you guys. But it was a bit stressful as well. Whereas the High School Musical with my mum, that was so fun because I was like spending really good time with her and I was teaching her dance moves and she was doing it wrong and it was funny and we had all the time in the world. There was no stress. She was filming my solo shots. So it was just really enjoyable because it was like having some bonding time with my mum and making good content, I suppose, as well. So I love that song from High School Musical. I think that not everyone knows that song, which is probably why it didn't do as well as the others. But I was like, you know what? I don't care. I like the song. We're gonna do it. So yeah.
Oh,
and shout out Tabitha as well. Tabitha always watches all of my live streams. She always comes to my events, and she always shares my parodies. So I just want to say thank you very much. You are awesome, Tabitha.
Shout out Tabitha. And anyone else with any? We've had a couple more questions, which I think we might get to at the end. So I wanted to pick up on that one because it was very, very relevant to what we were talking about. But they've had a couple more questions that we can get to at the end. But anybody else who has any, get them comment below the Facebook or YouTube video, and I'll show the best ones on screen, or the funniest ones, or the most awkward ones, or the most personal ones. I will
bring them on. Bring them on.
You can put Mark on the spot. So, like I said, there is like on the viral note, again, there's something I want to cover very, very quickly. But you touched on a couple of things just then, which maybe some of our viewers at home don't know about, and that is you come across as very. You're an entertainer through and through, and you come across as very like energetic, dynamic. I think is maybe a way to describe you. But you're very, very cheerful and all that personality. But beneath all that, like there is a classically trained performer. You went to a very prestigious stage school. Like a lot of people won't know that Mark is actually like a pretty decent ballet dancer. You're a great singer. You're in a program. So tell us a little bit about like going way back to like that time at stage school and maybe just before you came out to Malaysia. Like, what was that journey? What was that part of the journey like?
So if it wasn't for me in that going to stage school, I definitely wouldn't be doing this interview with you now. I definitely wouldn't have come to Malaysia. So I didn't come from a very well-off background. So I actually went to this special school in London. I had to take a 2-hour train every morning to get there from the age of 12, like a performing arts school. So I got a scholarship because it was just my mum at the time, and she had 3 kids to support, and the fees were really expensive. But I got a scholarship, so I went to this school, and there was a lot of people who were quite famous now that went to my school. It was like one of the top performing arts schools in London, and what we would do is we would have singing, dancing, and acting twice a week. And then academic studies only 3 days a week. So it was really fun. So we only would do like boring schoolwork Monday to Wednesday. And on Thursday and Friday, we would do singing, acting, and dancing. So it was really cool. And I did like West End shows. So I was in some of these musicals in London. I did a lot of those. And I always wanted to perform. So it's been in my blood since I was like a little kid, actually.
Wow. And you were I remember one of the highlights of your early career was you were an extra in a Harry Potter film, I believe. Like, wasn't that? That's I know. Well, like, yeah. I mean, did you end up on screen or no?
No, there was about 10,000 extras. So it's really funny. You audition and they sort you into the houses. So I was actually slithering. So I don't know why. Do I look like a jab, Jacob?
No, that doesn't surprise me one little bit.
Do I look like a ruffian?
Yeah, you've got the. I think might be just the hair sweep, but you've got a bit of the Malfoy about you. I think dye your hair blonde.
The Malfoy.
You could pull off a pretty good Draco, actually.
Yeah, I will share you one story about Harry Potter, which is really funny. So so you know Ginny Weasley?
Yes. Well, yeah.
I don't know her first name, so we'll just call her Ginny. So
We'll call her Ginny.
So one of my friends knew her, and we were just like kind of talking, and then Emma Watson came over, and she literally said in front of us, this is when I was like 15 years old, she literally says, so Emma Watson, if you're watching this, you're definitely not watching this. If you're watching this, yeah, I remember. So she basically looks at us, and in front of us goes, Ginny, obviously she didn't say Ginny, she used her real name, but I don't know Ginny's name. She goes, Ginny, why are you talking to the extras? Ugh. And then walked off. And since then, any movie that Emma Watson's been in, yeah,
not watching. She's not the charming little bookworm that the series would have us believe. She's actually a bit mean. She's a bit of a filch. She's a bit of a yeah, a bit of a filch. But yeah, that's interesting. So so that's the stage background, and that of course brought you to Malaysia as part of and wait, someone's just mentioned it, as one of the founding and only members of, or founding of the original members of the London Boys, which was the boy band you were in when you first came out here, and that was what, 7 years ago?
Just under 7 years ago, yeah. Yeah, crazy.
7 years ago. Wow. And in fact, this commenter first saw you performing on their birthday.
Oh, wow.
I think I'm looking at this now. I think that's Anne. I think Anne Sophie. Yeah. Anne says, yeah, so many pyramids. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, so you were one of these, like, it sounds like an insult when I say it, but like, you were one of these like manufactured boy groups, right? Like you were one of these like just guys who were put together to do that. Like, tell me about the London Boys.
So basically, I was in London still at the time, obviously, because I was a London boy. And I was going to a lot of auditions for musicals and like TV shows in England. And I just finished a show, and this offer came up to be in this boy band in Malaysia. And at this time, like One Direction were quite big, and the boy bands, I don't know if you remember, but before One Direction, boy bands were not cool. Like boy bands were like, oh.
Yeah, right. There was a bit of a dip, wasn't there? Like we had it all in the 90s, and then the whole boy band thing went away for a while, and then One Direction kind of made it a little bit cool again. Yeah.
Between Backstreet Boys and One Direction, there weren't any boy bands, were there? Like, let's be honest, that were kind of
that's a good point.
People liked a lot. So anyway, I got this offer, and straight away I was like, oh my god, yeah, boy band, you know, get to travel around, get to do this, like, yeah, la 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 la. So I dropped everything in England. And I came to Malaysia, and we were kind of I had high expectations, which was a bit silly of me, because we weren't really like had an actual like record deal that was kind of sorted out or anything. So we were actually owned by the Sunway Group, and to start things off, we were performing at Sunway. So they would have like a stage for us at the Sunway ice rink, and we would go on and sing like twice a week. But whilst doing that, they were also like preparing songs and saying, okay, we could do this in Southeast Asia, we could tour here. Like there was a lot of talks, but nothing ever happened. And then for 6 months, I was kind of just performing at the same places every day, and it was lovely. It was nice. I loved meeting all the people who came and supported us. But to be honest with you, that was the only thing that kept me going, because it was just the same stuff every day. Like it was singing the same song every day, and there were so many things that I would have loved to do, but we couldn't really redo it, which was a bit of a shame. But I would never ever insult the band or say it was rubbish, because if it wasn't for the London Boys, I would not be in Malaysia, and I wouldn't be where I was, I suppose, today. So although looking back at some of the pictures and cringing, I cannot insult it.
There's a few.
It's what brought me to.
There's a few.
It's what brought me to.
It's all part of the rich tapestry, isn't it? But there's a few sleeveless vests I think I've seen that you'd probably rather forget. I think
the ones that you asked me, where did I get from when you wanted for your birthday present? Those ones.
Yeah, the ones I wanted autographed.
Yeah,
those ones. Do you have them?
I do. I'm still preparing them for you. Yeah, you send me the invoice after this. Yeah.
It's make sure you don't shower like when you wear them. Right? One of those things. I think we've stirred up some like a bit of controversy here. I think because it seems as if our comment about the boy band dip has not gone down well. Like 5 Blue, A1 were pretty major. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were.
But I'd say
sorry, I was meant to include them as well. I mean from like Blue to One Direction. You tell me who was around. There was no. Let's be honest. I mean, you had the one
because these guys. They were like more of a one hit. I mean, they had an album obviously, but they were more of a one hit wonder, maybe a 2-hit wonder. Like, but there weren't any major. Like these guys were all big, 5 Blue and A1, but they were about the same time as the Backstreet Boys and whatnot. Around the same time. I don't know. We're talking like 2001 here.
Yeah, and
this is actually the time I was living in Malaysia before I left back for the UK. Before I came back here, we're talking like 20 years ago now.
Yeah, so I didn't mean to say Blue weren't major. I love Blue. Oh my God, Jacob, you know, I'm singing Blue songs every day in karaoke.
I know.
I kind of mean from those boy bands, like the Westlife, Blue, A1, you know, Boyzone, to One Direction. There wasn't any like boy bands.
Yeah, there was a bit of a.
It was more kind of there was the indie scene, and then when One Direction
there was a huge indie scene. Yeah. There was a massive indie scene, but there was also like quite a bit of like garage, like in the UK at least, like garage got really popular.
Yeah,
Craig David and like DJ Piper and that lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was different era, and then so from that, then you got into hosting. You got the job at Astro, was it? And you started doing a lot of work on like football shows. And
my first job was a show called the ATV Quickie. So the ATV Quickie was a show where we had entertainment. It was an entertainment show, and we would interview movie stars. We would go to music gigs, and we'd interview the artists. So I met Mark Wahlberg from the ATV Quickie.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that's one of my highlights.
You made that joke.
Did you
make that joke? Oh no.
He was really nice actually. So in my job, I've got to interview some amazing people. Obviously, there are some people you meet who aren't so nice, but there's some people who it's like, wow, that's like such a cool job, you know.
That must be pretty cool. I bet. I can only imagine of the star-studded life you've led, Mr. Odie, honestly. But at what point, because I mean, you've been doing this, at what point did you start getting really into, I mean, now you've got, almost 100,000 subs on YouTube, you've got like well over 100,000 on Instagram and so on and so forth. TikTok, how many have you got now? I daren't look.
270,000 on TikTok. Yeah.
And we'll come back to TikTok as well. That's something else I want to grill you about. But generally speaking, so now you're obviously a very established content creator and you've got like you've got your thing, you're doing your thing. But when did it really start like being a thing for you? When did you start really getting into like doing work with brands and creating a lot of videos, like regular stuff, and really building your followers? Like when did you see that start to happen?
Okay, so there was a point in the entertainment industry when TV wasn't the main thing anymore. So I was on ATV Quickie, which was a TV show, and the ratings for that were just going down as social media and stuff were coming up. So I'm doing this completely wrong. So as the TV show was like, because it's opposite, as the TV show ratings were kind of going down, social media was like going up. So I was like, okay, I need to get on this. I need to adapt as well, because what if there's no TV, I'm screwed. So when all Instagram and YouTube was out, I made sure I was on that. And a lot of my friends who are TV hosts, they refused to kind of adapt. They were like, oh, this Instagram, this YouTube is rubbish. Like, I'm just a TV host. And I kept saying to them, I was like, look, you can't say that, because what if, the ratings keep going down for all these shows? When I first moved to Malaysia, there was the amount of, I would get so many offers for TV shows, like hosting. They were looking for hosting. Now it's just online. And
post this, hold this, here's a caption, go for it,
Exactly. So I was like, from that point, when I realized TV was going down, I realized, okay, I've got to kind of make my own content. If there's like, and it was kind of good for me, because I was on this TV show, the ATV Quickie, which I absolutely love doing. It was my first kind of big hosting break, But there were certain points on the show where I had these ideas that would get rejected because the director doesn't like it or it doesn't fit the show. So I thought, fantastic, I can do all this stuff myself on my own platform without anyone saying anything. So I kind of love doing that because, as I mentioned earlier, I always get these ideas like, so it's somewhere where I can put these ideas and hopefully entertain people.
Well, I think, and you mentioned which is great. I think it's the right attitude. It's a very good one to have because a lot of people don't, and that is, you know, basically adapt or die. You know,
Yeah.
like things aren't always things aren't being done the way they've always been done, and if they are, there's something wrong. You know, like one of the worst attitudes to have is like, it's the way we've always done it, so it's the way we'll continue to do it. You know, and a lot of people are getting left behind, especially like in this day and age where there's like a new thing every month. It feels like, you know. So, which is why I want to talk briefly about TikTok, for example, because I'd say like we're comfortably now. I mean, you and I are about the same age. Like we're approaching 30. God, it makes me feel old.
Yeah.
But you and I are about this. But you and I are like comfortably millennial, you'd say.
Yeah.
Right? And we've got like not one, but we've got Gen X and Gen Z beneath us, and like Gen Z now are the ones taking over the world with TikTok and content creation and everything else. And a lot of our generation, a lot of people our age are like completely against it. You know, they're just insistent that TikTok isn't a thing that they'll get. But what they forget is that, and we had Snapchat. You know, we got used to that, and the generation before us, you know, it was Facebook, and then it was MySpace. There's always something.
Bebo.
Oh my God, Bebo! I had to delete my Bebo account. You know, I went back a few years ago.
Yeah.
I deleted my MySpace, my Bebo, and I actually wiped my Twitter account quite recently as well. I just couldn't watch it. I just could not bear it. You know, so yeah, I'm glad that's been resigned to the internet. But what we forget is that there's always something you need to get used to. But it seems like TikTok has got a lot of people riled up the wrong way. And I'll admit I don't get it. I haven't got it yet. It's just not something I've really got into. But I know that it's now plays a big role in your content creation. So what are your thoughts on it?
So I like to say one thing before I get into it, and that is a lot of these people that you say, oh, they refuse to go on TikTok. It's hilarious because all these people, and I tell you what, I'm not afraid to say it. When I first started using TikTok 2 years ago, okay, and I wasn't one of these people that were making these like dancey, la 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 la, like all this kawaii stuff that people associate TikTok with. I was making like my pranks. I was making my sketches. I was doing these even like parodies. I was putting them on TikTok, and everyone was just like, "Oh, TikTok's lame," or "Oh, your videos are cringe." Like why'd you go on TikTok? It's so cringe. And they would say all this stuff. And I kid you not, Jacob, I said to these people, I was like, trust me, in 2 years' time, you had Eric on, right? Eric had this chat last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, mate, get on TikTok. Like your videos, he was already on TikTok. I was like, mate, keep doing TikTok because it is the app. And he was like, yeah, man, like TikTok is growing. And I was like, trust me, mate, all these people, they're going to give us shit now. And they're going to say like, oh, you know, your videos are lame, but they're going to be the ones that are going to want to be on the app. Flip the clock 1 year later, especially during lockdown, all these people that were saying to me like, oh, it's so cringe. Like people in the industry who I know, I'm not going to name, they would say to me like, oh, you know, TikTok is lame. Suddenly, oh, look who's got a TikTok account. Suddenly, because TikTok's getting big. So it's just like, yeah.
You gotta love that. Yeah, I honestly, if I'd done it a couple of years ago, I mean, not that I'm in at all a similar position to you, but I probably would have been turned off. But I'd have been like, oh yeah, you know, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it's not going to work out. I would have listened. You know, I would have given into the haters.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Howard. I mean, this is a question for me, which I shouldn't take, but Howard, I've got a TikTok account, but I'm not telling you what it is, and nor am I ever going to post on it. So that answers that question once and for all. Thank you, Howard.
I think
where was I?
Well,
yeah,
people don't fully understand it. They have this thing that TikTok is just, you know, people dancing or lip syncing or being cute. Like you can do so much more on that. It's what content you want to make on it. So you got these people who are like, I refuse to go on TikTok. My content is too good for TikTok. And it's like, well, why don't you make your really good content on TikTok? 15 seconds of the best stuff, and then you will stand out. Do you know what I mean? There's so many niches that you can have on TikTok. There's this one person I
People
follow.
forget, yeah.
She lip syncs Donald Trump, and it's so funny, and it's just really simple. And she talks about politics as well. She gets millions of views every day. It's what you make of the app. Do you know what I mean?
I think, yeah, you actually make a very good point, and this is what we discussed with Eric a couple of days ago. Like, people are getting too wrapped up in what they're already seeing and reacting to, rather than what they could create, and like use it for themselves. Because TikTok is like one of the few platforms, like, it's far and away compared to Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, even like LinkedIn, if you want to get down the businessy route. Compared to all of those, TikTok puts them in the ground as far as like reach and audience is concerned. Like, you can put up one video and all of a sudden have it viewed 800,000 times if it appears on the feed at the right time, whatever. You're not going to get that with anything else. And so I think people should be more open to it.
Yeah.
But
I could really sell TikTok. Like, I really think it's so good. There's so many things about it. Like, number one, like, I'm not sponsored by them, by the way, but it sounds like it now. But the best thing about it is, if you go on TikTok,
aren't you?
If you look at your TikTok, I don't know if you can see here, but like, they have a button here where you can go onto your Instagram straight away. You see that? And your YouTube.
And share the video.
Whereas Instagram and YouTube, they don't like to cross promote all these apps. Whereas TikTok is fine. It's like, okay, you can link to this other app. So if you have a viral video on TikTok and people come across your profile, they can go onto your Instagram and your YouTube with one click. So you've got all these people from around the world, not just in Malaysia, because TikTok is a very worldwide reach, who are going to now check out your Instagram.
Huge in America.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've done it, and it's kind of genius, actually, to think about it, because they've got the videos in 15 or 60 seconds, right? And 15 seconds is exactly the same length as an Instagram story. So if you create a video on TikTok and put it to Instagram, because it puts the logo, doesn't it? It puts the watermark.
Yeah.
So it's just like they're just doubling their reach, because people will see it on Instagram and know that it came from TikTok. So yeah, I think it'll be a very interesting like thing to keep an eye on for the next couple of years or so.
And I would say another good thing about TikTok is it gives the users an idea on what content to create. So if you're not a content creator and you don't know what to do, you don't know what to shoot, it gives you options, it gives you challenges, it gives you songs where you can lip sync to it. Whereas on Instagram, you just do an Insta story, you wouldn't know what to post. Whereas on TikTok, everyone can feel like, they're creating something fun because they have so many options, which is why there's such an appeal.
Yeah, agreed. I think, and it brings, and someone makes a very good point here, because it's one of the few apps, if not the only major app that license. In some places you can get Instagram music. It's not available in Malaysia, but TikTok generally, it licenses really good songs to do challenges to. So it actually introduces people to a lot of really, really good music. So yeah, I think a lot people are scared of what they don't understand, right? And we don't like change. So when we all thought we just figured out Instagram, and then TikTok came along, and now we don't know what to do with ourselves.
You've got to adapt to what's new on the market, haven't you? It's the same with trends, and it's these people are going to be left behind if they don't adapt. If they just got the attitude like, oh, it's too young for me or whatever. It's like, well, no, not really, because apps get better. They mature over time. So it's a very silly mindset to have, in my opinion. And like I said before, so many people have slammed it, and now suddenly they are on the app. So it really makes me laugh.
Yeah, completely see the order. And I think what Eric and I touched on briefly was how like Instagram, for example, is like still the major, in terms of like overall usage and whatnot. It's still like the major player, but it's become such like an overly curated, like picture perfect, literally like feed. Like everything is just like my best life in a perfect filter. And you only show the good bits and everything. Like there's no humanity behind that. Sounds really dramatic. There's no human side.
This is the real me.
Well, that's it. You come like TikTok. You're just being a bit silly, aren't you? You're just being a bit funny, like a bit like slapstick. Like you don't take yourself too seriously. And I think that's what a lot of people are sort of coming full circle to connect with too. So
agreed. Yeah, agreed.
I think it'll be it'll be a very interesting thing to watch in a couple of years. But on the viewership note, on the audience note, there's something I wanted to come back to, so I'll come back to it now. And that is like the the parody making process, or the content creation process when it comes to making a video go viral.
Yeah.
Now, I'm interested in this particularly because my background is creative agency, right? So we used to do marketing and advertising for a load of different clients.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you get a brief from these clients and they're creating a video, it's always like, yeah, we want it to go viral.
Video,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, of course, like, that's just that's not even a brief, you know. Of course, everyone wants their video to go viral. You can't just say it and that will happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are ways, and I know you found a couple to be pretty effective. There are ways to get yourself out there. There are strategies to get reach and everything else. And you've had phenomenal success, I think, so far. You've had 2 videos now on 9gag. There was Boba and one of the Frozen parodies, was it?
Under the Sea.
Under the Sea, yeah.
Yeah.
And at least Under the Sea and at least a couple more, I think, like this recently, they've been like shared by the NHS. They were,
that
was Under the Sea, wasn't it? Because it was like the wash your hands stuff.
Under the Sea got shared by NHS, and also the High School Musical one got shared by a few hospitals, and some police forces as well shared it, which was quite nice.
That's the one. Yeah. So you got like millions, well, at least 1 million views on a couple of those, and getting onto 9gag, which is like one of the biggest aggregator of content there is, so that was just awesome. And what was your process behind that, if you could narrow it down to a process? Or what was your approach, what was your strategy, what was your thinking?
Well, I think for viral videos, if you think like you're so spot on with what you said about the clients, because I get all these clients, they message me and they say, hey Mark, we had this campaign, we looking to make viral video where you lip sync to this song. And I'm like, right, okay, the fact that you've said we want a viral video is already sounds a bit off. And then they send you the song and it's this really lame, like kind of cheesy K-poppy dance, and I'm just like, how is this going to go viral? Like they just expect things to go viral without a thought process. So for me, I look at trends. I look at like bubble tea, for instance, and I check online to see if it's been done before. So I typed in bubble tea song. I found 1 or 2, and I didn't think they were that funny. So I thought, you know what, let's try and make one. It's the same with the haze. So I did a song about the haze. It's a trend. So people are obviously typing in on keywords for YouTube, haze reports, or on Google. It's like coronavirus. The #1 search thing right now is coronavirus on Google. So that's why I'm doing these coronavirus parodies, because it is the kind of trending topic. And it's the same with other things. So the thought process #1 is doing something that's in a trend or something that people are talking about that will make people share it. If I make a parody about something that only I find funny, or like a hidden joke with friends, it's not going to go viral. Do you know what I mean? If I do a parody about Chelsea, my football team, it's only going to reach this amount of people. If I make a parody about football in general, it's going to be maybe shared by more people. So there's a whole. So
it's got to be not just relevant. So not just relevant in terms of current, but relevant in terms of generally broad interest as well. Yeah, not too niche, not too specific. It's got to be relatable.
Yeah. And I've also got to think about the language as well. That's kind of something that's quite, because at the start, right, I would make parodies in Malay, so it would just appeal to the Malaysian audience. And even Bobagel, mate, I done my Bobagel, and I put some Malay in it. There was some Malay in it. There was some Chinese in it. Like I put nut lagi. So I done all this stuff. But I didn't. My video didn't get shared once from any of the Malaysian portals. So none of the radio stations, none of the Malaysian portals picked it up or shared it. They didn't care about it. As soon as 9gag shared it, which is like the international one, suddenly they all started to, 9gag, like Malaysian is now on 9gag. So I just thought, you know what? Unless it's something to do with Malaysia, let's just keep it in English so it has more international appeal. So now I've started to do that. And like, especially with the quarantine parodies. Well, of course, I've got so many videos coming up that will be in Malay, and I'll be talking about Malaysia. But if it's a parody, I think as well, you've got to appeal to a wider audience. So yeah.
Nice. And in terms of like getting it out, like getting it to the NHS, to the police forces and whatnot,
Yeah.
I mean, did you sort of get in touch with a couple and then it snowballed from there, or
No,
like
so
were you quite like, were you very active in pushing it out to these people?
so when I do a parody, the hard work is not when I've rendered the file on Final Cut Pro. It is getting it out there, and that is something where people struggle on sometimes, because that is where the hard work really comes in, because you've now got to get your video out there. So there's a few things I would consider. For instance, the 9gag video, how my thought process for that was, let's try and get it shared on as many Facebook pages as possible so people see it. So I thought, there's this one page called Subtle Asian Traits. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah. That's a big one. There's like a few million people in that Facebook group, isn't there?
Yeah. So what I did was, I just said, like, instead of like boosting my video on Facebook, I got like 15 of my friends to share my video on that, and I was like, can you just share this? And it got approved on that page, and then it blew up on that page, and then I think people started to tag 9gag on my Instagram page. So little things like that. If you share it on these like Facebook groups, like my High School Musical parody, I tagged all the High School Musical fan clubs. So some people might think, oh, that's really sad, or that's so lame.
Yeah,
but it's that those people are the people that are going to want to watch your video.
In fact, yeah,
you know.
They're the captive audience. I think, to be honest, I mean, putting again, I'm being far too nice to you here, but I think putting Boba Girl in Subtle Asian Traits is a masterstroke, because like they go crazy for parody, and they there's so many memes already about it in that group. It just seemed like the obvious one to add onto it. And I saw, yeah, you're right. I saw the tags on the High School Musical one. There was like that like High School Musical Brazil fan club and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you're right. But these are the people who are going to share it amongst themselves, and like that might. But didn't you got like the I mean, I've not actually seen the film, but you've got the guy who played the coach, or someone comment on the video, didn't you? Like.
Yeah, that's so I tagged all the cast in it. And like I said, I bet some people were probably thinking, oh, that's so sad, like, you know, tagging all the cast or tagging the fan clubs, like whatever. Like, I honestly don't care. Like, that's how I think it's going to get that reach, because if one of those people share it, imagine like their audience who are High School Musical through and through, they're going to be like, oh, wow, that's so cool, rather than maybe promoting it too much on my followers who might not watch High School Musical. You've got to kind of target the other audience. So it's the same with all the Boba Girl songs, for instance. You know, you will my Under the Sea parody. So I went on Facebook and I searched Disney fan club. So I found this one Disney fan club that had about 300,000 likes. So I joined the group and I shared my parody. So little things like that can really make a big difference to your videos, because these 300,000 people are Disney fans through and through. These people are like, I think the page was called Disney Addicts. So, I mean, you've got it. There you go. They like Disney a lot.
Yeah.
So if they see this, they are going to go, oh, it's a Little Mermaid. And they are the ones that are going to share it. So those are the little kind of tips I would maybe give people who are trying to go viral. Target your audience and get it out there. Don't just think, oh, if I pay 100 ringgit on Facebook to boost it, it's going to go viral. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, very true, actually, because people kind of see it has to be more organic than that. And even if being organic means a little bit more groundwork and a little bit more, how can I put this? Sometimes it's a little bit less dignified, you know, to be tagging all of these people and everything, but it works.
Yeah.
Really, better that than like.
I honestly don't care what people say, because it works. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And rather than seeing it, because as soon as, honestly, for me, like as soon as you see something like that and you just see sponsored on the top, it's kind of like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, like anyone can sponsor a post. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we've got a couple of minutes left, so I think we can round off with a couple of questions. We've got one good one here from Tabitha, actually, who was wondering. Now, of course, once all this is over and once you can, in fact, make it back to Malaysia, which we hope is soon, of course, what do you think the rest of the year is going to look like for you? You mentioned just now you've got a few more parodies planned in Malay, and I know there's an Astro show, I think. I don't know if you can tell us about that you want to get back for. But how's the rest of the year for you?
So the rest of the year is I've got my Astro show. So that's called Small World, which is still ongoing. You can watch that on Astro 9 p.m. and every week. And I've got a few other Astro shows. I've got a lot of hosting jobs coming up. But a lot of stuff is like 50-50 because of the coronavirus. I'm sure it's the same with everyone right now. Like a lot of people, a lot of projects are on hold. I had some things in Hong Kong. I had something in Korea. All this stuff like is on hold. But just expect lots more parodies, lots more videos, because even though there's a coronavirus situation, it's not going to stop me from making my videos and doing these parodies and stuff. So you can expect a lot of content still. But in terms of hosting, it's very unsure because of the whole COVID-19 situation. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it hasn't slowed you down too much, and I know you love hosting. I know it's one of the things that you're passionate about too. So we hope we all hope we can get back to that. But I think for now, you seem to be keeping yourself pretty busy.
Yeah.
And on the parody note, I think we'll end on this question. This is a good one from Mr. Forrest Vince Chan. Anybody, and maybe this could be either locally or like your dream collaborator, who would you want to collaborate with for a future parody, and why?
I know Forrest Chan, very good trainer, this guy. As you can see from this picture, is there anybody you want to collaborate in the future with parodies? I love collaborations. I think there's always I've collaborated with a lot of people. If you have an idea, hit me up. I love to hear them. It doesn't matter if you're if you're famous, if you're not famous, I don't care. I love just working with new people, doing parodies. If it's a good idea, I'm good to go. So yeah, I think I did a collaboration with my friend Kai for one of our coronavirus songs. And we worked really good together. A lot of artists as well, like in the Southeast Asia region, we've had talks about doing some parodies. It's a little bit tough now because I think the parodies you really got to meet up and be in person.
Yeah, for sure.
But there will definitely be collaborations, yeah, for sure.
It takes more than you. Cause I've helped you out with one, or been a bit involved with one. But even some of the times I've kind of helped you out last minute with like a TikTok video. Like people would be amazed how many takes these things can take sometimes and whatnot. So you've definitely got to meet up and do it in person and just like feed off each other's energy and whatnot, right? But
yeah.
I mean,
you're still my friend with the amount of times I've asked you to help me shoot TikToks. I would have thought you would have been peed off by now.
Well, as long as you keep tagging me in them, it's pretty good exposure for me too, so I don't really mind. Although I haven't got as many followers from you as I'd like, so maybe I'm going to stop doing them. There's no value in it anymore for me.
You don't want to be a bubble boy anymore, no?
Well, maybe on I could do some help on TikTok. Maybe I'll hit you up for that. In fact, there is one collaboration I know you want to do, and that is a real one with Justin Bieber. But maybe we won't go into that this session around. But for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean real? Do you not believe that I met him, Jacob? Are you one of those people that, think that I didn't meet him? Come on. There's evidence on my Instagram that I did. Come on, Jacob.
I think there's an entire series on your Instagram dedicated to how you didn't, which I love, by the way. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. On
that note, the funniest thing about the Justin Bieber, right, is the people who comment on obviously it's a prank. Obviously I didn't meet him. Like, I would love someone to go on the comments right now. You didn't meet him. But the funniest people are the people that think that I'm trying to lie about it. I don't know how to explain this, but there's some people who comment like, why are you lying that you met Justin Bieber? Stop lying to your audience. I know you didn't meet him. And I'm like, bro, it's a freaking joke. Chill out. Like, I get people DMing me and they're saying things like, you can't fool me. Like, and not in a sarcastic way, not in a kind of like, ha 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 ha, good one. I see through you. Like, you don't fool me. I check Ellen and you were not on the show. Don't lie to people. And I'm like, it's a joke. It's a prank.
Dude, what's funny about that is like, this guy thinks he's so clever. He's like, I've got you. I've uncovered you. And it's like, mate, you just spent 3 hours going through Ellen's show footage. Exactly. Who's the idiot? Who's the idiot here? Come on. And they didn't. I think it's, you know what though? Because I think a lot of people do. Like, a lot of people do. Like, there's a real trend for it. I think maybe we see it less out here, but and this is just like secondhand, third-hand evidence and things that I've read, come across the internet. But like, people are, and especially like in America, when it comes to like soap opera, not soap opera, like reality show fans and whatnot, people are like really guilty of like going, and these are the people who like rent fancy cars for Instagram pictures, you know, like, you know, those types of people. And they're like really good, and they'll go to fancy parties and they'll hang around outside like the red carpet area and like snap a selfie like as the VIP is walking past. But if they get it in the right kind of angle, they're like, hey, yeah, just hanging out with my friend, like so and so from Jersey Shore. And people honestly like go to a lot of like to great length to make it look like it's real, whereas you went to slightly less length to make it look almost deliberately fake, you know, which I think was brilliant. I think I mean, Andy Lim's been inspired. I think he's going to Photoshop himself beside you
with that cup of tea as well. I like that.
He does look very suave, doesn't he? All right, mate. Look, well, I think that is unfortunately all the time we have for this evening. So we'll have to wrap it up there. But look, mate, thank you very, very much for joining us all the way from the UK. We really, really appreciate it. And, you know, for sharing with us. In fact, I've got one more comment I want to show you. Howard at least wants to see us to collaborate together. But, you know, there might be a while yet, Howard. We can't do anything until Mark gets back.
Boys too. Wait for it, Howard. Jacob.
Hang on. Bubble Boys.
So it might happen. It might happen.
Boys. Wait, Bubble Boys 3 by now, or 4? You did, there was a follow-up.
You didn't want to be in Bubble Boys 2, did you? Yeah, you thought you were too good for us, didn't you, Jacob?
I don't think I even got to cast for it. I don't think I even got sent the casting call. Oh, that's a shame. But maybe we'll work on something when you get back. But mate, yeah, thank you so much for sharing all that, and also not just for telling us about your story, but also I think some very, very valuable advice there for anybody watching who really wants to take like content creating seriously. Like there is a process behind it that you've got to really respect, and I think you figured out that formula pretty nicely. So like, we'll say goodbye for now.
Well, you got to enjoy what you do. That's one thing I didn't say. You got to make content that you like doing, because this is something you'll be doing for like most of your life. Don't pick something, or don't pick a career or a hobby that you don't like, or you're just going to hate your job. So yeah, make content that you like to do as well. I never said that. Very important. And
yeah, and on that, and use songs that you like as well. Otherwise, you'll get real sick of them. So that's it. And for those of you who aren't already, do check out Mark on Instagram, and we'll be sending out a survey link in the comments beneath the Facebook video. Check that out, because that gives you access to Mark's YouTube channel, or you can just search Mark ODea on YouTube. I think we want to push him closer to 100K. So any help with that is appreciated. But for now, mate, I'll say good night. You can say good afternoon, I guess, because it's about.
I'm just going to make my cup of tea and have my fish and chips and enjoy the rest of my day. It's 2 o'clock here.
Is that English breakfast tea, or is that bubble tea?
It is definitely bubble tea. The homemade bubble that I made myself, Jacob. Yes, you should know about that.
Of course.
Mine is bubble in England, you will find.
Your favorite beverage. Bubble in England. All right, mate. Thank you. See you soon. Stay safe. Take care, and we'll see you back in Malaysia very soon.
Thanks for watching. Take care.
Well, there we have it. The wonderful Mr. Mark ODea. And who'd have thought behind that silly, boyish exterior lies a very savvy businessman indeed, I think it's fair to say. So we can't wait to see Mark back on the shores, hopefully very soon, once all this lockdown is lifted. But I don't think we have to worry about him creating content in the meantime. It seems like he's getting even more creative while he's in quarantine. So I'm sure there is much to look forward to. Anyway, that about wraps us up for day 5 of week 4, and that brings us into the weekend, where we'll be going quiet for a bit. But don't worry, because we are back next Monday with another lineup of speakers, schedules, and sessions. So keep an eye on the Facebook page or the group if you're not registered already. Please do so, and you'll be kept up to date with the full schedule as it appears day by day. So we'll be back on Monday evening with Sing Da, and we will be welcoming more speakers throughout the week as they are confirmed. So in the meantime, have a great weekend. Stay indoors if you can. Stay safe, stay well, and good night.